Good morning, everyone. Excuse me. I apologize. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Illinois Works NOFO GATA pre-qualification session for today. I thank you all for being here and hopping onto this call. My name is Olivia Meisenbach, and I am a technical writer for Illinois Works, as well as being able to be a part of the professional development team. And I once again welcome you all for being here. And this morning we have on the session today Miss Amber Broughton, who is a part of the Office of Accountability. As well as on this call today, we have Miss Monica Pruitt, one of our grant managers for the Illinois Works program. And today they will be discussing our pre-qualification and other requirements today. And once again, I welcome you all for being here. And I will be moving forward with any chat links if you have any questions below, as well as any questions if you have any in the chat. We will be going over those towards the end of the session today. And so once again, I thank you all for being here, and I will be passing the presentation over to Miss Amber Broughton. Do you all have any questions so far in the chat?
There are no questions so far in the chat.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And just to make sure, the presentation you all are able to see on my screen today.
And yes, we can see the slides.
Okay, thank you so much. All righty. And Amber, I can let you take the stage.
All right, thank you, Olivia. So my name is Amber Broughton, and I am with the DCEO Office of Accountability. I am a technical support manager. So like Olivia said, I'm going to be talking about GATA and pre-qualification and just requirements that you need to know if you are going to be an applicant for this grant. Next slide. All right, just a slide that this session is being recorded. All right, so like I said, I'm gonna talk about GATA and the grant process. I'll talk about the GATA grantee portal if you are unfamiliar with that or need a refresher. I'm going to talk about pre-qualification. I'll briefly touch on the notice of funding opportunity, and then what to expect after the grant award. If you are awarded a grant with DCEO, what are the expectations of you as a grantee? Next slide. All right, so this is kind of a big picture overview of the grant process here at DCEO and with the state of Illinois agencies in general. So we are in this pre-qualification stage, application submission. So your pre-qualification requirements need to be in good standing, and I'll be going over those in a later slide. We've got the fiscal and administrative assessment, internal controls questionnaire, ICQ. Then it's time for those application documents to be submitted. So it is a specific application package for this particular grant. So it is important to read that notice of funding opportunity. We'll go through that. Then the application is reviewed by a merit review committee, and applicants will receive notice if they are awarded a grant or not. Then it's time for that grant agreement. You'll get a NOSA, or a notice of state agreement award, or notice of state award, sorry. And then it's time for the development of the grant. You'll be assigned a DCEO grant manager who you will be working with throughout the process. And this grant document is going to be created for your specific entity and for your award. It'll lay out all grant expectations and grant requirements. So, what is expected of you as the grantee, what is expected of DCEO as the grantor. And then both parties will sign the grant agreement, and then it is considered executed. Then it's time for the implementation of the grant and periodic reporting. So once the grantee begins implementing project objectives, they're going to be submitting periodic financial reports and periodic performance reports, and you'll be in contact with your DCEO grant manager throughout this process. And all of those expectations will be in the grant agreement. Also want to note that all grantees are subject to an annual audit report, which I'll go into a little more detail about that, but it is a requirement and will be laid out for you in your grant agreement. Then it's time for the closeout of the grant. The grant is closed once the grant period ends. Next slide. All right, so I've used this term GATA. GATA refers to the Grant Accountability and Transparency Act, which adopted the federal grant guidance and regulations that are codified in 2 CFR Part 200. So we're taking the federal guidance and we are applying them to state grants. So this was the state of Illinois' way of removing duplicative processes, increasing accountability and transparency. So all of the state agencies follow the GATA requirements. Next slide. All right, so the GATA grantee portal is our statewide grant management system. And this system is used for grant activity across all agencies. So if you've had a grant with DCEO or maybe with another Illinois state agency, you're likely already familiar with this portal. But this is a screenshot. When you go to grants.illinois.gov/portal, you'll see this screen. If you are brand new to the portal, you would click that middle button that says Create Account. If you already have an account, then you would click the button to the left that says Grantee Portal Sign In. Slide. If you are brand new to the GATA Grantee portal, I highly recommend that you check out the GATA New User Guide. So we have that link on the screen, and then we also have it in the chat. This is a PDF that contains step-by-step instructions for registering in the portal. It also kind of helps troubleshoot some common questions, any issues that you might have with pre-qualification. It's a really good PDF to just have bookmarked in case you need it or in case you have new staff that will be working in the portal. Highly recommend that one. I also recommend checking out, if you'd like to learn more about GATA and the requirements, checking out the Grant Accountability and Transparency Unit over at the Governor's Office of Management and Budget. They are the statewide experts on all things GATA and all things Illinois grants, and their website has a large amount of information and resources and training materials on the GATA requirements. Next slide. All right, so I've used this term pre-qualification. The state of Illinois has defined a set of requirements for all organizations seeking to receive grant funding. Pre-qualification demonstrates that an organization has met all the legal requirements and obtained all the necessary registrations. So pre-qualification status needs to be obtained by the organization, but it also needs to be maintained throughout the life of the grant, especially when it's time for that grant agreement. But you do need to be in good status with all the pre-qualification items before the application due date. All right, and this is a screenshot of how the pre-qualification section might look like in the GATA Grantee portal for you. So when you are in the portal, it's on the main page. You just scroll down to, it says pre-qualification status. And it has all of the pre-qualification items listed there. You can see in this example, this entity has 2 items in red. So those items have some sort of issue that needs to be addressed by you, the entity, the applicant. So as you can see, there's a help button just to the right of each of those red boxes. It will give you some directions and instructions on how to remediate that issue. You can also let us know if you have any questions about pre-qualification. There is an item in yellow that is considered pending. It is usually something that is being reviewed, and it will automatically update within the next day or two. It's those red items that you want to address as soon as you can. Next slide. All right, so I'm going to go through each of these pre-qualification items. The first one is SAM.gov. So System of Award Management, better known as SAM.gov. This is a federal site. Your SAM.gov registration must be validated annually. I want to note that your registration in SAM.gov should be set to public, not private. This is to help ensure that the federal site, SAM.gov, can sync properly with the state site, the GATA grantee portal. So make sure it's set to public. When you do that registration, you're going to get a unique entity identifier, or UEI. This number is used in SAM.gov, but you're also going to enter that UEI number into the state GATA grantee portal site. That is how the two systems sync up. I also want to note the difference between signing up with SAM.gov and actually registering. So when you first sign up with SAM.gov, you'll receive that UEI number. Oftentimes in the Office of Accountability, we will see new applicants, they will receive that UEI number and they will stop. There are more steps involved to complete the registration. So please complete the entire registration. That is the pre-qualification requirement. If this is a brand new registration, you are going to want to leave yourself time. It can take up to 7 to 10 business days for SAM.gov to process a new registration. So this is one of those things that you do not want to leave until the last minute. It will take time for that SAM.gov registration to be fully active. You will receive an email from them once the registration is complete. Next slide. Next up is a federal employer ID number, or FEIN. This number is used to identify a business entity. You likely already have one of these, but if not, the IRS provides FEIN numbers free of charge. Once you enter your FEIN into the GATA grantee portal, nothing additional that you need to do with that. If there is any issue with your FEIN number, if you are on the FEIN lock list, it will automatically update for us. So you just need to add your FEIN number in there. Next slide. All right, we've got the federal excluded parties list. This list identifies entities excluded from receiving federal contracts, subcontracts, or other types of federal or non-federal financial assistance or benefits. These exclusions can also be referred to as suspensions or debarments. So if a grantee is on this list, if you have your SAM.gov, if your SAM.gov is synced to the GATA grantee portal, nothing additional that you need to do with this. If your entity is on the federal excluded parties list, it will automatically update for us and let us know, and you're not eligible for state of Illinois grants. Next slide. All right, next up is the Illinois Secretary of State requirement. To do business with the state of Illinois, entities must be registered with the Illinois Secretary of State and obtain a certificate of good standing. So this certificate of good standing shows that the entity is in full compliance with the state regulations. If you are brand new to registering with Secretary of State, you do that at ilsos.gov. And we have that website in the chat as well. The Secretary of State website does have a special section for business resources and can assist organizations in obtaining that certificate of good standing. There is a nominal fee to obtain that certificate of good standing. The exception for this requirement would be governmental entities. They do not need to register with the Secretary of State and obtain a certificate of good standing. So this would be a requirement for everyone else. So for nonprofits, businesses, that sort of thing, they will need to obtain that certificate of good standing. Please note that the entity type on the Secretary of State site needs to match the entity type in the GATA grantee portal. Also be sure that the file ID listed on your certificate of good standing matches the Secretary of State number that is listed in the GATA grantee portal. And of course, you can let us know if you have any questions about that. Next slide. Next up is the Illinois Stop Payment List. If your entity is on this list, this means that an organization has fallen out of compliance with a past grant. It usually means that you were missing a report or missing an audit, but it could be for some other reasons as well. If an entity is on this list, they cannot apply for Illinois state grants. They also cannot receive a grant agreement. The grant agreement cannot be executed. So if you do see that your entity is on this list, it is likely something that can be reversed. It's usually with the submission of a missing item, like a grant report from a past grant. So please contact your former grant manager or your cognizant agency to see how to remediate the issue. You can click that help button just to the right of this block to see if who the agency was that put you on the stop payment list. You can also contact us at DCEO, ceo.granthelp@illinois.gov, and we will work with you to help see what the issue is and how we can resolve it. And this is another one of those that I would recommend not waiting until the last minute. So getting reports in or getting audits in, that can take time. So make sure that you are giving yourself plenty of time if you do see that your entity is on the stop payment list, because sometimes it takes a little while to resolve it. Next slide. All right, got the Illinois Department of Healthcare and Family Services, or DHFS. They have the authority to impose sanctions on entities and individuals. So if an entity is on the DHFS sanction list, that means that they have been in violation of an administrative rule, a civil law, or criminal offense. If your entity is on this list, it will automatically update for us and let us know. The entity is considered not pre-qualified and not eligible for state of Illinois funding. Next slide. Couple of tips with the GATA grantee portal. Please be sure to go into the portal, even if it's been a while. If you already have an account, please be sure to go in there and make sure that you have a current and accurate contact list in the portal. So you want to make sure that the right people at your organization have access to your portal page and that the right people at your organization are receiving notifications. So in this screenshot, you can see the button in the portal that's called you just scroll down to Grantee Portal Access and it says Manage. You would click that button that says Manage, and you can change those settings. You also want to make sure that your fiscal year end date is accurate in the GATA Grantee Portal. This will become important when it's time to submit audits. So just let us know if you have any questions about that one as well. Next slide. All right, so I'll just briefly touch on the Notice of Funding Opportunity, or NOFO. I know you all are going to receive more information about this. Just letting you know that this is the document that contains all of the important details for a program, including how to apply. So every NOFO is different and specific for that particular grant opportunity. They all have kind of follow the same outline though. It'll always have a program description, kind of going into more detail about the history of the program and why this program is being funded and grant opportunities are happening. Funding information, so what are the grant awards going to look like? How much money will be distributed? How many anticipated awards the program plans to give out? Eligibility information. So this is an important one. It's going to say who is eligible for this particular grant. It's going to talk about if there's any cost sharing or matching, that sort of thing. So you're going to definitely want to take a look at the eligibility information. Another important one is that application and submission information. So how exactly do you submit your application package? It will have all of that information. It will have the due dates in there. Of course, the due date is very important. It is a strict due date with that. And then application review information. So it will go through what does the review and selection process look like? The reviewers, what are they looking for in grant applications? So while you're writing your grant, it is important to look at that application review information to see what they're looking for. Make sure it is in your application. It'll have award administration information. It will have the agency contact, which we always have ceo.granthelp@illinois.gov. And then if you scroll up to the top of the NOFO, it will have the program contact. So it will be specific to that particular grant if you have a question that is a little more specific for the grant. Next slide. All right, so you've likely already seen this page, but this is where you can find DCEO grant opportunities. We have the link here and in the chat. You scroll down to the grant that you're interested in. Once you click on that grant, it'll give you a short summary of kind of those key points for that particular grant. You scroll down to application documents. That first link that says NOFO supplement, that is what we are talking about when we say NOFO. So that is the PDF document that will have all of the necessary information for that grant. Next slide. All right, so we have the Fiscal and Administrative Internal Controls Questionnaire, or ICQ. This just needs to be completed once every state fiscal year. All of the state agencies utilize the same ICQ, so you may have already filled it out for this year. But if you go into the portal, it'll let you know if you have an ICQ that is due. The questionnaire will ask you about your quality of management systems, financial and programmatic reporting, ability to effectively implement requirements, and your audits. Want to note that this assessment is used to mitigate risk and build grantee capacity. It is not used punitively and will not, it doesn't determine whether or not you're going to receive funding. Next slide. All right, then I'll just briefly touch on post-award requirements. I think it's important to, know what is in store if you are awarded a grant. All of the post-award requirements will be laid out for you in the grant agreement. So no surprises. You're going to know what items are due and when. Throughout the life of your active grant, you'll be submitting periodic financial reports and periodic performance reports to your grant manager. The reporting frequency varies, but all of the due dates will be outlined in the grant agreement. You'll know what is due and when. I also want to note that there will be an audit that is required for grantees when they have state expenditures during their fiscal year. Every entity is required to submit a consolidated year-end financial statement and audit, or CIFR. And you're going to upload these audit documents in the GATA grantee portal. Want to note with audits, there's likely an expense associated with conducting an audit, and the grantee is responsible for those expenses. So that is something to keep in mind, that it will be the entity's responsibility to find an auditor, establish that relationship, and have that ready to go. And when it's time for the audit, expenses associated with it are the responsibility of the entity. Next slide. The type of audit that is needed for your specific entity will be determined through a questionnaire called the certification form, and that is the first step in the audit process that's in the GATA grantee portal. So it'll say step 1, certification form. You're going to answer a series of questions, and it will tell you which type of audit is needed for your entity for that particular fiscal year. So this table just goes through how that audit type is determined. But like I said, when you're in the portal, it will guide you through that process. Next slide. All right, so you have many resources available to you as an applicant, as a grantee throughout the life of your grant. Here in the Office of Accountability, we have the DCEO Grantee Resource Site, and we have that link on the slide and in the chat. This is where you will find all of those current DCEO grant opportunities. You'll find the video training and resource library. We have a large collection of video tutorials, reference sheets, manuals on many of the topics that I have discussed today. So GATA related topics, we have a pre-qualification video, just kind of going, a deeper dive into a particular grant subject. I highly recommend this if you, need a refresher, or maybe you have new staff that will be working on a particular aspect of the grant. Please direct them to that resource library. We also have regular grant trainings. So in that upper right, there it says upcoming grant trainings. You're welcome to sign up for our invitation list, so you will receive information about our upcoming grant trainings. Once a month, we have trainings on pre-qualification. So we go into more detail about the pre-qualification process, about SAM.gov, Secretary of State, all those. We also, once a month, we have a training on a rotating topic. So many of the topics that I've talked about today, or others, we go into more detail about that particular topic. So you'll receive information about that if you sign up for our invitation list. We also have virtual office hours every Tuesday from 2 to 3. Myself and my colleagues in the Office of Accountability, we hop on a WebEx call like this, and it's very informal. You can bring your questions, as they relate to GATA, the GATA grantee portal, pre-qualification, audits, that sort of thing. And then you can always email us at ceo.granthelp@illinois.gov. That's our virtual grant help desk. We can answer your questions about GATA and grants, or if it's a program-related subject, we will guide you in the right direction. But yeah, feel free to email us. We are here to help. You have the help and resources available to you, starting now as an applicant. So please let us know if anything comes up and you have a question, and we'll do our best to answer it. So I will pass it back over to Olivia.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much, Amber. Thank you. We really appreciate it. So, as we are finalizing up this presentation for today, we are actually going to ask if you all are able to give us feedback. And because we would like to hear from you, we would like to see any traits that you guys believe would be helpful for our presentations. So, I actually will be sending up a Mentimeter right here on the screen. So if you, on the right-hand side of the WebEx screen in the chat section, there should be a multimedia viewer, the external site, which is where a Mentimeter is located. If you press the continue button, the app will show up and you will be taken over to the Menti website. And we will also drop in the chat below the link as well as the code if any of you all are able or would rather move on to the website through a specific link. So I will give you all a second or two to pull up that information, and I will transition over to the questions. All right, everyone. So I do have the menti.com above on the screen if you guys are able to see, as well as the code if some of you may have not been able to log in through the continue button or through the website. We do have that information in the chat if you guys are welcome to as well. So through these few questions, we are just asking for your feedback. So for our first question is, Please share your views on this training by rating the following statements from 1 to the lowest, to 10 being the highest. So the first question can be, to what extent did it meet your expectations? How likely are you to attend a similar event in the future? And how likely are you to recommend the trainings to others? Okay, great. Alrighty. If you give me 1 second, I'll pull up these answers onto the screen. All right. Are you all able to see the answers on the screen above? We have, please share your views on the training and the following statements from 1 to the lowest, 10 to the highest. Great. So I see some 10s up here. And so we will be moving forward. The course was relevant to what I wanted to learn about this subject matter. With pressing 1, strongly disagree, 2, somewhat disagree, 3, neither agree or disagree, 4th, somewhat agree, and 5th, strongly agree. So if you all are able to answer this question on what you believe was helpful or relevant from this subject matter.
Hey, this is Gary Rideout. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I am.
Oh, great. I'm sorry to interrupt. I was having a real problem getting on. I finally just got on, but is this this presentation and the presentations moving forward, will they be available? Are they copied somewhere, or is there a way to review them again?
These sessions, that's a great question. Thank you. And thank you for your hand. I do see that as well. These sessions are being recorded, specifically this one and our future ones. And so they will be uploaded onto the website, and we will have those up. I believe it's in between 72 hours or so. I hope that answers your question great enough.
It does. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So I do see through some of the answers. We have strongly agree. And if anyone else wants to chime in on their answer, I can leave it for a couple more seconds. Okay, great. I'll move on to this next question. I plan to apply what I learned. 1, strongly disagree. 2, somewhat disagree. 3, neither agree or disagree. 4th, somewhat agree. And 5th, strongly agree. Okay, we have a strongly agree so far. All right, leave it up for a couple more seconds if anyone has any other ideas on how, if they believe they will apply what they learned today. Okay, great. Thank you for the strongly agrees. All right, and for this next question, what improvements might you recommend? So you all are able to type in your answers to see if you believe there are any improvements, but if you also see that there may not, again, I do see someone put none, or you may all put NA if you don't believe they're applicable for this time, but we do want to hear if you believe there are any improvements that you might recommend. I'll give you all a few more seconds if you have any improvements you may think of. All right. Well, thank you for the feedback. We really appreciate it. And moving forward, our next question is, what did you find effective? If we make changes, what would you recommend we keep? So again, this is typing in the answers as well if you believe there are any things that you found effective or any changes you believe you would recommend. And if you all may not have one, again, you may put none or NA for the moment. Brief and informative. Okay, thank you. All right. So I see, again, brief and informative. I can give you all a few more seconds if you have any other answers you may find. All right. Well, thank you so much for the information. And once we move forward again, is there anything else about this course you think we should know? You may type in whatever answers you feel fit for this question. Again, is there anything else about this course you think we should know? We really do appreciate any feedback that you all have. Okay. If you all do not have anything about this course you think we should know, since I do not see any answers as of right now. No? Okay, great. Thank you. I'll leave it again for a few more seconds if anyone has any other points. All right. Well, if I do not see any other questions that may be popping up, I will be moving forward. All right. We'll be moving forward, and that actually will be the finishing up of our session today. Once again, we all thank you so, we all thank you so much for sitting in today, and we really appreciate the information that Amber gave for us. Again, if there are any other questions, we are more than willing to answer them through the emails that were given, as well as all of the information that was given in the chat links today. And once again, this session was recorded, and we will reach out if you all have any questions, but we appreciate you all coming in. Thank you so much, and you all have a great rest of your day.